Hey guys, this doing 30 minutes of cardio after my workouts is messing me up a little bit. Not really in a bad way. Well, let's not reverse into anybody trying to fix my ear. Oh, shoot. But it's messing me up because the workout is not fresh on my mind, so you have to give me a second to gather myself. So today was shoulders and abs. I do know I started with shoulders, so we'll just go from there. So, of course, I'm working out my shoulders, so I'm doing an extensive rotator cuff warm-up. It's helping, but I am aware that I've done so little of rotator cuff warm-up. I need to give my rotator cuff time to completely strengthen. So, I know that's going to take a while, so we're not going to be doing anything too heavy with shoulders for a long time. So, after my rotator cuff warm-up, it was time for my first working set. Well, I warmed up, of course. So I did cable lateral raise. That was my first exercise choice. I'm always back and forth between if I want to start with dumbbells or cables or just do 8 sets of the cables or 8 sets of dumbbells. And it just usually ends up being cable lateral raise because that's where I'm warming up and everything. So it's just how it works out, I think. So form-wise, mindset-wise, so I started with lightweight, of course. I don't really go too heavy on this one unless my shoulder's feeling good that day. So the focus was, you want to set the cable right down to where your hand, like if you're standing and your hand straight down, about level with your hand, and you grip it. I like to use a hook grip without my thumb. And you just push the weight out to the side a little bit in front of you, and you should feel your side delt engaging pretty well here. There's quite a few different attachments you can use on this one, but I find this one really keeps my side delt under tension throughout the entire movement, and therefore I don't really have to go that heavy. Like there might be a day that I want to go heavy, but the form will suffer a little bit. The time under tension won't be as long, but I still feel like I could get a lot out of that. I've seen some studies that you only really need 1 second positive and negative under tension to really get the most out of an exercise. But that was a really good starter. And then I did dumbbell lateral raise. And I'm back and forth on this one. So I like the slow, controlled sets, but I also like moderate to heavyweight sets where you have to use just a tiny bit of momentum. Like you're still keeping your muscle under tension, but you're able to move around a little bit more weight. I think there's a benefit to doing both ways, so I try to mix it up as much as I can. So that's what I did with the dumbbell lateral raise. I used a moderate weight. I used a little bit of momentum, but I stuck to the form and I tried to keep my time under tension 1 second positive and negative at the very least. But it felt pretty good. So I did 3 sets of the lateral raise on the cable, and then I did 3 sets of dumbbell lateral raise. But yeah, focusing on that form, that mind-muscle connection, just swinging the weight out a little bit. And I have really started to enjoy wearing a sleeveless shirt when I work out my shoulders, because when you're working it out and you can see it in the mirror, it helps with that mind-muscle connection a little bit. And it's pretty cool to start to see the striations come in on my shoulders. It's always the first muscle you'll see it in. But that was it for my side delts, and it was time for rear delts. I didn't really do a whole lot for my rear delts. I did the cable, reverse cable fly. You get it about level with your shoulder. Keep your elbow bent just a little bit. And you just push the weight out. I don't really use an attachment, so I take the attachment off and just hold the cable. And this one can be kind of tricky because you can go decently heavy, but the heavier you go on this one, I think the more you risk injury, because your rear delt is such a small muscle. It doesn't take heavy weight to work it. And the heavier you go, the more you're going to engage your back. So you got to find that sweet spot of heavy enough, but not too heavy, and light enough, but not too light. It's going to be a tricky one. I think I only did 3 sets here. I could be wrong. I might have done 4. But the whole point was I didn't go any heavier than I did because my right rear delt was fine, but my left one felt a little funky, so I didn't want to do too much. I almost switched to face pulls, but I saw it through, and I didn't do anything else for my rear delt, so that was the only thing I did. And then after that, I worked out my abs. Not really a whole lot going on here. I've really been liking the cable crunches. I warmed up my abs a little bit, pretty light, really focusing on the form, trying to really get that down, you know. Excuse me, I need a drink of water. Just edit this part out. Probably won't. You're probably just watching me do cable crunches while I'm coughing and drinking water right now. But yeah, so as I was saying, really focusing on the form here, taking this one a little bit slower than I do, and really trying to crunch down and drive my elbows towards my knees. And I'm able to go a little bit heavier on this one, and when I do, after about 7-8 reps, I really feel a deep burn in my core. It's been a while since I've done cross crunches though, so I need to do some more of those. I can't find an exercise that beats the burn of doing those. If you hadn't done them, you need to try them. But I did 2 sets, and then I started supersetting it with the oblique crunch. You know, 25 pounds feels too light. 45 pounds feels almost a little too heavy. So I think 35 pounds would probably be the sweet spot. So we don't have 35-pound plates, so I'll just have to use a dumbbell next time, I think. But I was supersetting those back and forth. I can't even remember how many sets of this one I did, so I'm just going to keep talking about it for a second. But the cable crunches felt good. It was a deep burning, and then supersetting it with the oblique crunches it felt pretty good. And of course, wearing a sleeveless shirt and you're holding the weight, right? And you got your arm against your body, it really inflates your arm and makes it look bigger than it really is. So that's pretty cool to look in the mirror and see. But I did I don't know, somewhere between 4 and 6 sets of both exercises. And that's pretty much all I did for my abs. I don't think I did anything else. No, that was it. That was it. I didn't feel the need to do anything else. I had a pretty good pump. So we went to the bathroom. I did my pose down. I didn't really notice any big differences from the last pose down. You know, this is a marathon, not a sprint. And my diet was a little hit and miss yesterday. I overate just a tad. It's the trickiest part when you have a family. You know, you're trying to stick to your diet, and you know they don't want to eat the food you're eating, and then you have that food in your house, and then sometimes, just sometimes, we slip up. But to combat that, I got myself some rice cakes and sugar-free jelly. If I get a sweet tooth, that's what I'll eat. A nice little 50-calorie snack that'll put something in my stomach, and the jelly will help with the sweet tooth part of it. So that's a pretty solid thing, I think, that's going to help me resist eating 300-calorie candy bar or something, you know. It's a big difference. It'll make a big difference in the long run for sure. But I did do my 30 minutes of cardio, and I don't know, things are going pretty good. The progress in the weight loss side has slowed a little bit, but that's okay because I'm noticing small details, and I realize that once you get to a certain weight, it's kind of, you know, you kind of plateau a little bit. But to break through that, I'm doing more cardio. I'm getting a little bit more strict with my diet. But I know if I keep doing this, a few months from now, I'll be completely diced. And once I get to a state to where I'm happy with how diced I am, I might stay like that for a little bit, but I'll probably main gain from there. And I could change my mind. I could go into a full-on bulk. But, you know, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, that's about it, guys. So tomorrow will be an arm day. we'll see how that one goes. My last arm day was kind of rushed, so I want to be able to take my time with this one. So hopefully I'm able to do that. I mean, I should be able to. It'll either be an early morning lift or it'll be between an 8 and 10 o'clock lift like today. If I can get up early enough and feel well rested enough, I'll go early. But we'll just have to see what tomorrow brings. But I appreciate you guys joining me as always. Don't let that dreamer die. Keep the grind alive. And don't ever give up on yourself. Have a good one, guys. See you tomorrow.